We all remember where we were August 3rd, 2018 for the official release of Travis Scott's studio album, Astroworld. One of the biggest, most anticipated albums of the last decade by one of the most popular artists of our generation. Now, this album, honestly, was remembered for a multitude of different reasons. Firstly, the music is just absolutely fantastic, as it is regarded as the best album in Travis Scott's discography to many and many Travis Scott fans. But for many other reasons as well. The rollout, the era, the cover art, the features from Drake, Frank Ocean, Gunna, 21 Savage, The Weeknd, the list goes on. But most notably, what I remember from that night being thinking, who the fuck is this on Can't Say? I think I have watched every single reaction video to Astroworld that is on YouTube. Every single one of them. And we all shared that same thought. Who the fuck is this on Can't Say? In my opinion, the greatest feature, the best feature on the entire album. This was the day, August 3rd, 2018. This was the day we all got introduced to Don Toliver and who Don Toliver was. An artist from Houston that Travis Scott brought onto Astroworld to, again, have, in my opinion, the greatest feature on Astroworld. Now, little did I know, 8 years later, he would be one of, if not honestly, my favorite artist in the entire genre to date. But if we go back to what it was like at that time, we all kind of thought like, oh, shout out Travis Scott, letting Don Toliver from Houston have a feature. We didn't think much of it until a year later went by, 2019, when Don Toliver signs to Cactus Jack, Travis Scott's label, officially making him a Jack Boy, which then we would hear him appear on the first Jack Boys on songs Gang Gang, Had Enough, and, my most favorite, my most played, What to Do. And this is the point where I started to think, okay, hold up. Don Toliver, there's some serious shit going on here. This isn't a one-hit wonder thing. This isn't just a feature kind of thing here with Don Toliver. So I was a fan. As Travis Scott is my favorite artist of all time, I was, of course, going to be hearing more and more of Don Toliver as he was officially a Jack Boy, kind of linking to Travis Scott. And then the years just kind of started to go on. And I listened to Heaven or Hell, and I listened to Life of a Don, and I listened to Lovesick. And I find myself having every single Don Toliver album that is being released being one of my favorite albums from that year. And I'm starting to think, okay, no, I'm a Don Toliver fan. I'm a huge Don Toliver fan. And then that's when 2024, he released Hardstone Psycho. And I remember before this album came out thinking, okay, this is the first time where I am like, this is one of my most anticipated albums of the year. I am beyond excited for this album. And as I got Hardstone Psycho, and the more I started to listen to it, the first thought, and this thought that I never thought would come up in 2018, 2019, 2020, even 2023, a thought came into my brain of, am I a bigger fan of Don Toliver than I am Travis Scott? There's no way. I've been a Travis Scott fan since 2014, 2015. There's no way this can happen. Don Toliver was just a feature on Astroworld. Can't say. There's no way that Don Toliver can be my favorite artist. There's no way I can like Don Toliver more than Travis Scott. And then I kind of started thinking, why not? Why not? Don Toliver has this ability to shape himself and reinvent himself for every era that he has. His ability vocally to do things that Travis Scott just quite frankly can't do, but still hold true to that Jack Boys, that Cactus Jack, that Houston sound. I loved it. I honestly, quite frankly, couldn't get enough of it. And I started to think I am a bigger fan of Don Toliver than I am Travis Scott. Now, honestly, here now in 2026, it's not that big of a deal. I think we can all kind of agree that as yes, Travis Scott to this day is still one of the biggest in the genre. We can think that his himself musically, which I hope I'm wrong. But musically, Astroworld, Utopia kind of felt like the prime of Travis Scott, and now he is kind of trending towards still great, but out of his prime Travis Scott, where Don Toliver feels like he is entering his prime. And then we get to a couple weeks ago when Don Toliver announces the official release date for Octane. And this is when I said, okay, Don Toliver has the ability to really put a stranglehold on the genre that feels like it's in a very weird space right now. It feels like we are in a lackluster of real superstars. And the ones that we have, quite frankly, are on the way out. J. Cole, release coming up here soon. We are all very excited for what is many considered in the big three with Drake and Kendrick Lamar. But yes, they are at the pinnacle. They are the big three for a reason. We feel like are kind of out the door. J. Cole could release the fall off, and that could be it. Drake, Iceman, is this the last of Drake's prime? Which Drake's a little bit different. He feels kind of LeBron-esque, where the longevity, who knows when it's over. But this could be the last album, great album that we see from Drake. Kendrick Lamar, do I think he can do something like a To Pimp a Butterfly again or like a Damn again? I don't know. It feels unlikely. So they are kind of out the door. Then you look at some other artists in the genre that have that superstar ability, but how much longer do they have? When you look at a Travis Scott, you look at a Future, it feels like we're lacking that. And a lot of the new artists that are coming up don't seem to be able to mesh the two perfectly between the music being great and their I hate the word aura, but that is the best way to explain it, mesh. Now, I do think there are a couple that we really have the ability for that to happen. Playboi Carti being kind of the head of that. I think Playboi Carti is, if he can continue this momentum that he has coming off of I Am Music, we'll see what happens with Baby Boy this year, if that even does get released. But Playboi Carti kind of feels like he has that ability. And then you have, Yeat and Don Toliver. And this is what I was saying with Don Toliver coming into Octane. He has the ability with a good album to try to bring some more young superstardom into the genre. Now, I know a lot of people look at Don Toliver and they look at JID. They're like, oh, but the age. I'm not too really concerned about the age. I'm just talking about the sound. I'm just talking about, we've had Drake for a decade. We've had Kendrick for a decade. We've had Cole for a decade. Future, Travis. These guys have been around. We need fresh blood in their prime of their career putting out fantastic music. That's what we need in this genre. And again, it's in a weird space where it feels like if you're not a traditional rapper, how do I put this into words? I feel like nowadays in the genre, no one's allowed to have fun anymore with the shit. No one's allowed to just put out good music sonically or good music production-wise. If you're not rapping, you're not part of the genre, so get the fuck out. And it feels weird because what a lot of the youth does really well, a Ken Carson, a Destroy Lonely, a Playboi Carti, a Don Toliver, a Yeat, is having that production backing. They are a part of the production. They are a part of the instrumental. That's kind of a different topic for another day. But we had the night of Octane come out. And if you want to see my initial reaction to it, it's in the channel. You can find that down below. You can find that reaction. Quite frankly, I didn't give that reaction enough energy, but don't worry. I'm going to give my due diligence here. Don Toliver releases Octane. And now I think here I sit 5 days later, I have to kind of question myself, like, am I just gassing this? Or is this entire project legitimately insane? Like, I feel that way with Heaven or Hell. I feel that way with Life of Don. I feel that way with Hardstone Psycho. I feel this way with every Don Toliver album where it's like, hold up, I'm fucking with all of this. There's nothing on here I don't like besides the Tizo touchdown. That's kind of a topic for a different day. Other than that, I love all of this. So I kind of want to use this opportunity to say and to claim and to kind of just put it out there. Why not Don Toliver? Why can Don Toliver not be one of the faces of this genre? Why not? Because he doesn't rap enough? Is it because he's a jack boy and it's cool to hate on Travis, so we're not going to back Don? Why not? I think the music backs it. I think everything he does outside of the music backs it. The aura, if you want to call it. I hate to say it that, but fits the role of a superstar. He fits that mode. The website before the release, the mountain, it was fantastic. All of it. And the one thing that I love about Octane, the one thing, many different, but I love how he put Saw Baby on it. He put Yeet on it. He put Rema on it. He says, okay, I don't need y'all no more. Right? Not that it would be a bad thing. He had the Travie feature on there because he's a jack boy, but we're going to exclude that. I didn't need a Future feature. I didn't need a Gunna feature. I didn't need a name it. Name another superstar. I didn't need it. Those government mandated ones that y'all love to throw out there. I didn't need it. I got it. E85, right out the gate. Energy, Body, fantastic. Then we get Yeet. We get Rema, fantastic. We get the 2 singles that he released before, Tiramisu, ATM, beautiful. Interlude, Long Way to Calabasas, fantastic. Rosary, Travis Scott, which I thought Travis did his thing, but I thought Don Toliver was the main attraction on the track. All the signs, not a huge fan of it. Fuck it. We'll push that off to the side. Then you go to Callback. Then you go to Tuition. Then K9. Then you get arguably the greatest 3-song stretch in his entire catalog. From Excavator, Gemstone, Opposite. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm like, I think some conversations are going to have to be had about Don Toliver. And not that... I think a lot of people look at Don Toliver almost like Travis Scott's sidekick. Almost like a Robin to Batman. Almost like a I don't know, Jerry to Tom. Fuck it. I think that's how a lot of people look at Don Toliver. And I think that's what gives him what feels like this ceiling to what his superstardom can be. How popular he can be. I think if we were to disassociate himself from Travis Scott, which, again, none of this would happen without Travis Scott. But I think we need to respect Don Toliver as the artist he is. So, Don Toliver, Octane, I think it's time we address Don Toliver as a superstar because I think that's what he is. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. And I don't think I've ever given any Don Toliver album anything less than like a 7. And honestly, now that I'm thinking back on it, I can't give Heaven or... I was going to say Heaven or Hell is probably a 7, but no, I can't do that. It's better than that. It's got no photos on it. It's got no idea on it. You know? What's the worst Don Toliver album? Life of a Don? And I noted Life of a Don stand's going to come at you if you say that. I can't say that. It's got Flocky Flocky. It's got Escape. It's got You. It can't. What's it going to be? Hardstone Psycho? You're going to put a track list with Brotherstone and Tore Up? You can't do it. And Inside and Ice Age? You can't do that. So I guess it's going to be Donnie Womack, but are we even counting that? I don't. I'll end off the video saying this. Don Toliver is officially a